It may be hard to believe, but about 66% of a nearly $30 million budget in Tippecanoe County is spent on people who break the law. That includes the county's court system, the prosecutor's office, and coming in with the largest tab at more than $10 million, the sheriff's office.
News 18's Krista Henery investigates the cost of an inmate in Tippecanoe County and reports on what it takes to run a county jail that's open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
For 2015, Tippecanoe County's budget is approved for nearly $30 million. About a third of that is set aside for the Tippecanoe County Sheriff's Office.
Our budget for the Sheriff's Office for our total operations is about $10.4 million, almost $10.5 million for 2015.
Tippecanoe County Sheriff Tracy Brown says while that money is divided between everything from patrol operations, security at the courthouse, and even animal control, he says the jail takes up a large part of the budget.
That includes our food operations, providing medical service to the inmates, and keeping and running a detention facility.
Because of security reasons, Sheriff Brown would not allow us to shoot video of inmates inside of the jail. However, he tells us during the past decade, the number of inmates has decreased.
Our numbers right now are down over what they were a few years ago. On average, we may have 350 inmates in a facility that's large enough for 553 if every bed is filled.
According to a study from 2011, the cost of housing an inmate per day in Tippecanoe County came in at about $37 per day, or nearly $14,000 a year per inmate. With an average of 350 inmates, that's about $4.7 million a year just to house, feed, and provide inmates with medical care.
Our two largest expenses, once you get away from personnel, our annual food budget is almost $400,000. Our utilities budget is about the same.
For a good number of years, Sheriff Brown says Tippecanoe County assisted the state with housing offenders when there wasn't enough room at the Department of Corrections. The state would pay the county about $35 a day for every offender, but he says that's not the case anymore.
And now the Indiana Department of Corrections is pulling those inmates out much quicker than what they did in the past, and we have seen a significant drop in that revenue stream. There were times when we would be at 450 to 500 inmates, and we might have as many. I believe our census in 1 month many years ago was as many as 135 to 140 state inmates. That's not the case. In fact, I'd be surprised if we have 15 to 20 total.
But Brown says although the average number of inmates has stayed steady in the past few years, there was a time when Tippecanoe County was sending inmates to nearby counties.
We were very crowded, and we had more people here than we had bed space for, and we had mattresses on the floor, or we were sending prisoners out at $35 a day to neighboring counties.
However, Sheriff Brown credits the recent decrease in inmate population to what he calls a thriving community corrections program.
And typically those alternatives, again, don't necessarily mean that a person is in custody. They can be, for example, on either work release or home arrest where they still have a job, and it is much cheaper, again, to utilize those programs than it is to actually place somebody in secure detention.
Reporting in Tippecanoe County, Krista Henery, News 18.
And in the second part of our series, Krista will be taking a look at recent changes in Indiana's criminal code and reports why Sheriff Brown fears because of those changes there will be a drastic increase in population at the Tippecanoe County Jail. That story is coming up tomorrow on News 18 at 6 and 11.